Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well and thank you so much for watching this session. We are starting a new series on this training platform, and in this series we will be demonstrating to you how to implement basic to advanced BGP features on Nokia routing devices. We know that BGP is a very common routing protocol. We normally refer to it as the protocol of the internet. So you expect to find BGP configured or deployed on many of the service provider networks. And this is because BGP has so many path attributes, which gives the network engineer or the network administrator the flexibility of controlling how they want traffic to flow within and out of their networks. So as a network engineer, you need to understand the working principle of BGP. You also need to understand how to configure and troubleshoot BGP on different networking devices. So this is why we'll be demonstrating to you how to implement different BGP features on Nokia routing devices. But before we start the training, just a kind request that if you've been watching these videos and you are yet to subscribe to our channel, or it's your first time to watch our training sessions and you are yet to subscribe to our channel, kindly support this channel by subscribing to it. Also, remember to like, comment, and share this video with your connections. So this is part one of this series, and you can see the topology that we'll be using. We have different autonomous system numbers. We have a 65,000, we have a 65001, 65002, 65003, and 65004. We have different devices. We have R1, R2, and R3 in a 65000. And in this AS, we will also have to configure OSPF. Remember, before we implement BGP, we need to do some basic configurations. We need to have reachability when we are configuring iBGP using the loopback interface. We need to ensure that we have reachability between nodes. So we'll be doing OSPF in a 65,000. We'll also be configuring ISIS so that you understand how to configure ISIS on Nokia devices. After that, we will be moving to implement iBGP peering sessions. We'll also be implementing eBGP peering sessions. And once our BGP peering sessions are up, both iBGP and eBGP, we need to go ahead and now start demonstrating how you can implement some advanced features of BGP. For example, route reflection, route import, how you can control traffic flow using parameters like AS path, local preference, MED, and many other advanced features of BGP. So I hope you will stay tuned in. Just turn on that notification so that whenever we publish a new video on this series, you'll be able to watch it and understand how to implement these features on Nokia routing devices. So again, the first step that we need to do is to do the basic configurations. In this session, we are just doing host name configuration, port configuration, and interface configurations. And then later we can demonstrate to you how to implement other features. So when you are configuring Nokia devices, or when you are configuring any networking devices, it's always a good practice that you need to configure the host name. So this is the first thing that we need to do. We need to configure a host name, and this host name should be meaningful. When the user logs into the device, you'll be able to identify, for example, the location of this device based on the host name. And then we need to do port configurations. For the port configurations, you need to give a description. You also need to ensure that the description is very clear. For example, you can see that on R1, we are giving it a description to R3 and port 112. So it's giving you the peer device and the port on the peer device. So when you read the description, it's very easy for you to identify the peer device and the peer port. After that, we need to configure link layer discovery protocol. LLDP plays a very important role in network engineering. You want to be able to tell which remote devices are connecting to the local device. That's where LLDP comes in, link layer discovery protocol. So we need to configure LLDP so that we can tell which remote devices are connecting to the local device and on which device, on which ports, and many other details. Even the MAC addresses, we can be able to tell the MAC address of the remote device. After that, you need to enable the port. So you need to run the no shutdown command. And once you've configured LLDP, there are other parameters that you can configure. You can configure the MTU, you can configure the port speed. All those can be configured. After that, we need to do the configuration of the interfaces. So in Nokia or Nokia devices, you need to be in the configure router hierarchy, and then you can go ahead and configure the logical interfaces. So the logical interface, for example, you need to give it a name. This one, we are naming it to R3, which clearly tells us that this is an interface connecting to R3. We need to give the correct address using the address command. The mask should be correct also. And then we need to give it a description, a very clear description of the remote device and the port. Finally, you need to put the port and enable the port. So this is port 111. This is the port that is connecting to R3. You also need to ensure that this is the correct number. The port number is correct. And once we've done this configuration, we'll go ahead and use LLDP to verify that, yes, we are connecting to the correct device. And we can use other commands like ping to verify that our point-to-point IPs are configured correctly. We also need to create a system interface. This is like the management interface. This is like the loopback 0 interface on other vendors. So we need to assign the correct IP address 1.1.1, and then you also need to enable the port. So we'll do the same configuration on R2. R2 and R1 almost similar. R3 has multiple connections, so you also need to configure the host name. You need to configure the port mappings. You need to configure LLDP, and then we need to configure the interface parameter. So we have interface to R1, we have interface to R2, interface to R4 and R6, and then we have the system interface. We do the same configuration on R4. R4 has two connections. R4 connects to R5 and R3. And then we also do the logical configurations. So we need an interface connecting to R3. We give the correct IP address. We also need an interface to R5 and provide the correct IP address. Finally, we configure the system interface, and all ports should be enabled using the no shutdown command. R5, we do the same configurations. R5 connects to R4 and R8. So we need to configure the interface, configure the ports, provide the IP addresses, give the correct description, configure the system interface. R6, similar to the rest of the routers, R7 and R8. And after we've done the configurations, we can go ahead and do the verification to ensure that we've done the correct configurations, and we can test using the ping command to ensure that we have communication between the point-to-point IPs. So let me log into the routers. I'll clear the screen on all the routers. This is R4, then R5, R6, R7, and finally R8. So I'll start by copying the configurations for R1. So if you have any question about these configuration commands, maybe there is a command that you don't understand what it's doing and you require some clarification, just feel free to leave a comment in the comment section, and we'll reach out to you and make it clear so that you understand what we are configuring, you understand each and every command that we are using. So I'll start by R1. So on R1, I need to do the configuration. When you are doing configuration on Nokia routing devices, one of the things that you need to pay attention is the formatting. Remember, it's hierarchical structure of configuration. So you need to ensure that you are in the correct hierarchy. You are in the correct configuration hierarchy. when you are preparing these configurations, or else if you copy paste configurations that are not formatted well, you will have so many errors. So you need to ensure that you do proper formatting of the configurations, and you should be in the correct configuration hierarchy. So on R2, we need to do the same. So R2, check on R3. R3 has 4 connections, so it will have a lot of configurations. This is R3. I'll paste. Then we have R4. Let me copy up to this point. So on R4, I'll paste the configs, exit. We have R5, which has 2 connections. Always remember to enable LLDP, the link layer discovery protocol. You will see the role it plays when we are doing the verifications. That is R5 and then R6. So for R6, we do the configs. R7. R7 has 2 connections. Finally, we need to do the configurations for R8. So on R8, we need to also do the configurations. Once we've done the configuration on all the routers, we can run some verification commands. The first one that we can use is show ports. So on R3, if I run the show port command, you see that we have 4 ports that are up. You can see the status, the admin state is up, the operation state is also up. You see the MTU, the speed, the port mode, it can be network, access, hybrid. So 4 ports are up on this device. You can also check the details of a specific port. Example, show port 111. You can see that we have the description. We have, this is the interface 11. The link level is Ethernet, admin state, operation state. The operation duplex, it's full duplex. You see the MTU and many others. Parameters, physical link. Yes, it's a physical link. You see the MAC addresses. You can see the transceiver status, the SFP. The transceiver type is SFP, the model. You can see the power levels for this connection. You can see the link length support 10 km for SMF. So there are lots of information that you can get when you run the show port with the specific port output. After this, we can also do, we can now run the show system LLDP neighbor. So with the show system LLDP neighbor, we have mentioned that this is the link layer discovery protocol. We are able to tell that on R3 port 111, we are connecting to R2 port 111. On R3 port 112, we are connected to R1 port 111. So this is a very important information when you are trying to establish the connections within your network. Which device is connecting to the local device? So you are able to establish all the remote connections. If they support LLDP, then you will be able to tell this local device is connected to these remote devices on these ports. So this link layer discovery protocol is a very important protocol in the networking domain. On R5, if I show system LLDP neighbor, you can see the output. Can also show system LLDP neighbor on all these devices to ensure that we are connected to the correct devices. On R1, show system LLDP neighbor, you see the output. So you can be able to tell the connections on these devices. After that, we can also, given that we've configured the interfaces, we can verify the router interfaces that we have using the command show router interface. And with this command, you are able to see that on R1, we have an interface to R3, and these are the parameters. This is the IP address. The admin state is up. The operational mode is up. It's a network port. And then we have the physical port. We can also show the detail. So for example, I do to R3 and then detail. You will be able to get an output of many parameters. You see the IP address and the mask. We don't have any protocols configured. The operation mode version 4 is up. We've configured an IPv4 address. You see the last operation change. You see the MAC address. So there is a lot of information that you can get when you run the detail command. So you just do show router interface and then detail. You can also run the ping command. So if we want to establish whether we've done the correct configuration, if I do show router interface and I see that I have an interface to R3, I can ping 10.10.10.1, which is the peer device IP address, and then we can see that we have a ping that is successful. On R4, if I show router interface, I can ping the peer connections 20.20.20.1. I'm able to ping. I can also ping 100.100.100.0, and we are able to ping. So this one confirms that our configurations are okay. We have packets transmitted. We don't have any packet loss, and you can see other parameters, the round trip, and many other parameters. So these are the commands that you need to master. These are some of the commands, of course, that you need to master that will help you to verify the basic configurations on the Nokia devices. So we've done the configurations. We've done the host name configuration. We've configured the physical ports with descriptions and also enabled the link layer discovery protocol. We verified the connections from one device to the other. We can see that the remote devices are as per the topology setup. We've also configured the logical interfaces between the routers and also the loopback 0 interface. We've also done the verifications to ensure that we can ping between the different devices. So I hope this is clear. I hope you've enjoyed this session. I hope you understand how to do the basic configurations on Nokia routing devices. And now in the upcoming sessions, we will be demonstrating to you how to implement other advanced features starting by OSPF, because before you configure BGP, you need to ensure that we have reachability between different nodes. So you need to implement some IGP configurations when you are using the loopback or the system IP address to establish BGP peering session. And then later we can also demonstrate to you how to configure ISIS and then move into the advanced features of BGP. So I hope you've enjoyed this session. I hope you've learned something. And again, if you have watched this session and you liked it, kindly subscribe to this channel. You can also support by liking, commenting, and sharing this video with your connection. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section, and I hope to see you in the next session. Bye.